listings. This is big. It's a huge one. As far as the livelihood of an agent, you can be very successful as a buyer's agent, okay? But you're always gonna have to work a lot harder and a lot more hours than a listing agent. Listing agents are where you're eventually gonna be able to start a team. You're gonna be able to, they're two first. There's so many advantages to getting the listings. You know, they're in control of the market. If you think about it, historically speaking, like Russell Shaw's, what are some of the other big listing agents in town here?
Probably Remax.
Nate Martinez definitely is a listing powerhouse. Absolutely. Corinne Newen is huge. Real estate is heard. There's some bigger ones. You have the Kevin Mitchell's team is huge. Lot team is all over the place.
Yeah,
you know.
City used to see.
And you don't think of it as a person, but realistically, Open Door, Tyler Hickson, they're people, and they control the market. They're no different than any agent per se. They have huge backing, but they started off with a great system in place, a great idea that was able to be very thorough and to be very good at what they do. Open Door and OfferPad, yeah. Right? OfferPad. Yeah, OfferUp's the furniture and other odds. So once you figure out your plan and your method to get listings, you can become unstoppable. Seriously. The market is always changing, so you have to keep a pulse on the market. But once you figure out your system and perfect it, you can make it as big or small as you want to be. And that is such a great place to be. Unfortunately, very few agents will ever truly become professionals. They will never have a plan and stick to it every single time. They will never be that professional that this is what I do, here's my schedule, this is how we do it, time and time again, just like a pilot. It really is that boring. If you want to ensure you're going to get every listing every time and get it sold, you create a checklist with every single step involved in your process, and you check that check every single time. And if you never miss one, even if you think you know it, you think you know better, go through your list and make sure you've double checked every single thing. As much as I love Kenny, I'd only trust him umpteen so many times flying that plane if he didn't go through his checklist. You know, okay? So.
Well, I like the control of the listing agent. Plus, you've like hired how many agents to do your work for you?
Exactly, exactly. We're gonna get into that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first part is getting the appointment. The next part is what do you do at the appointment to make sure you get the listing, and then last, once you got the listing, what do you do to get it sold? Okay, so that's basically the three parts. And so I did plan accordingly 30 minutes each. So we're into it 21 minutes. So we're gonna have to try to bust through some of these. Okay, so the first part is getting the appointment. Okay, where do you get your listings?
From the leads, from FSBOs, from...
Okay, but leads, that would be what does Breakthrough do to get leads? Because that's fundamentally where they come from. So what do we, like, for example, where online is huge, but how we get listing leads are different than buyer leads for the most part.
That's true.
Okay, so where are you getting your listing leads? Listings are 10 to 1.
Clients?
Literally online, 10 to 1.
Past clients?
Past clients, perfect.
And then actually, depending on the neighborhood,
Farming.
sometimes I'll try the area exactly and look for sale by owner.
FSBOs. Yes, internet. Farming is one of my favorites because it compounds, and I come back to it every single time. You know, you're going to sell listings, so why don't you try to focus on one neighborhood and just own it. You know, it's easier to compound the efforts of face-to-face name recognition, sign recognition, just listed, just sold, open houses, everything over and over and over again, and become an expert in an area than have one person, one neighborhood see you 1 week and then not see you ever again, because you're going to be over here, then you're going to be over here, then you're going to be over here, then you're going to be over here. It makes it really tough to make any lasting impression on anybody. You know, if you happen to catch this person that Sunday that they happen to be perfectly needing and thinking, oh, let's sell our home today. Great job. The likelihood of the whole valley having that one person, that one time, in that one moment, you're not stacking the deck very much in your favor at all, right? But if you stay in that neighborhood time and time again, if there's 1,000 homes in that neighborhood, you're going to get the, 50 sales a year that will occur in that neighborhood. Well, at least a good portion of them.
If you're walking the streets, there was something back years ago where they prohibited salesmen, door-to-door salesmen. Called the Green Law or something? I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, I remember something about that. Hasn't been in effect. You know, basically, if people have no soliciting signs, you adhere to it. But no, there hasn't been any, like, nothing that I can think of.
So, unless it's in their bylaws, CC&Rs or something like that, you just go ahead and go and get stopped and face it.
Yeah.
Well, most of them have, I think, posted on their property, you know, solicitors please or something.
There's lots of places like California, New York, Chicago, where you're dealing with more of a vertical building, in which case you're not allowed to come into the building and just hassle everybody. Right. Those laws pertain to those. Right now, the biggest thing we're facing is like open house signs and things like that. I haven't heard any hubbub about door-to-door in a long time, thankfully.
Yeah.
Because I think it did stop a lot of people from doing it, and I think now it's a dying form that needs to come back.
I did door-to-door in commercial.
Heck yeah. Pick a complex and just...
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to glean those tenants to come into our project, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to do stuff like that. Okay, so there's lots of places.
Now, I was just going to say monsoon,
Oh yeah.
okay?
Tactical tacking monsoon.
Yeah.
What is the average time? So if you're going to pick a monsoon thing, okay, like for example,
Within the last 4 to 5 years.
yeah, 4 to 5 years, perfect. You know, find that neighborhood, target the people that don't appear to have refied their home recently, different things like that. There's ways, that's the way, if you're willing to put in that little bit of extra homework and actually come prepared, oh man. And if you compare that, if you take that one step further to try to get as much information from like a Cole as possible too, you could walk up there, hey there Mr. and Mrs. Smith, happy anniversary. Hey, is your grandma around? You know, it literally tells you who's living there, when their birthday is, how long they've been there. I mean, as much information as possible. You could actually give them birthday cards if you wanted. The anniversary of their home purchase. I mean, you could own a neighborhood. Heck yeah. That's so neat. If somebody really wanted to own that and really take that on, you know, start off with a little chunk of like 200 homes, 100 homes. See what you can do with that. Okay. So the big thing that you want to make sure is that it's reliable. For example, if you were between 2005 and 2007 or 8, did you probably have to work very hard to try to get people to sell their home at that moment?
Yeah, because they didn't hit the point where they had to sell.
Well, a lot of people were buying homes and selling homes just because they would buy it, and before they even closed on it, they would have it sold again because the market was appreciating that much. People were selling homes like hotcakes, and they weren't buying their home; they were buying an investment, which wasn't necessarily good either. So people didn't have to struggle to get listings. It was more like, hey, can you even get this home because there's going to be 5 offers on it, that type of thing, right? Completely different market. People didn't have to be organized. People didn't actually have to farm. People didn't have to have any permanent, real anything in place to make sales. Everybody can make 4 or 5 sales a year. Average sale being $300,000. Yeah, you just made a decent little extra little bit off of those 5 sales. You know, not too shabby. In the fall of the market, those agents were the ones that went bye-bye because they didn't have anything. You know, what is that? Warren Buffett. It's not until the tide goes out that you see who's swimming naked. You know, that was that. People who didn't have a plan in place, people who didn't have structure, people who didn't know where their next listing was going to come from outside of, hey, the market's great. They died. Okay, so then you had who came into play?
Well, then you had your, what do you call it, distress
Properties, bank homes, and short sales.
Yeah.
You had people that got in with the banks. Boom, got fed, right? You had people that had great short sale things in place. The short sale people were in better shape because they were actually still dealing with people, and they had to do that. They had to get stuff in banks, but they actually had to still work with people.
Yeah.
The people that worked with the banks, they were having to bend over backwards. Stacy almost went bankrupt because so many banks owed her money at some certain points in time. Crazy. She would have to front all the things for their utilities, to get them fixed up, to get them sellable. When that property sold, then the bank was going to reimburse her off it. It was insane.
Really?
Yeah. This is what people were doing to get the bank's business because they would have 100 listings.
Good heavens.
Yeah,
Once they got the roll, it was okay.
Yeah, but then the banks kept pushing and pushing, taking less split. I'm giving them less splits, making them do more, making them front more and more money. It became really ridiculous, and a lot of them ended up getting out of the business at that moment because it wasn't. They were either gonna go broke working with the banks or go broke not working with the banks. So it was they struggled, right? But they had their hands they were getting fed by the bank, right? So when short sales started getting less and less and less, what happened? People either adapted again to the new source of listings because short sales were becoming fewer and fewer, right? Because the market was rebounding. Banks stopped doing the deals. So you had to go out and start developing a business. For the first time in, 20 years? It's been a normal market where people aren't distressed. People have to want to sell. People have to now find the right home. You know, people have to find a reason to do it. Interest rates have come up. It's not 2 or 3%. So that's not selling your homes for you anymore, is it? You know?
What about probates and trusts?
They'll always be around. See, and that's what I hate to say it. That's one of the niches that will always be there. If you get in with a couple good lawyers, that's a great source of listings. Absolutely. Yeah, divorce attorneys, probate, estate, all those. Yep. Yeah, it's like our form of kind of B2B, I guess you could say. Okay, so over the last few years in particular, with the interest rates where they're at, average home being $250,000, that doesn't sell itself anymore. That's not the huge bargain on the surface, right? It was easy to sell a $70,000, $80,000 home. Investors, first-time residents, doesn't matter. Everybody could buy an $80,000 home.
Especially Canadians.
Exactly. Especially if their dollar is stronger than ours at that moment too. It's crazy. So right now, of all the times, this is one of the most unique times because it's not easy to convince somebody to sell their home because they have to qualify for a new home. It's not the value that's going to sell it. It's not the interest rate that's going to sell it. It is your capabilities to show them the value in selling. It's us actually doing our jobs. And that's kind of the long and the short that we're gonna keep diving into. So that being said, with all those foundations laid, is your listing funnel source, is it reliable? Next month, do you know it's going to feed you 1 or 2 listings?
You mean your program?
Your program. Yeah, whatever it is that you do. Do you know, are you going to get your listings next month? If you can't say yes, that's something we should work on. That's something we can
Mine
create.
isn't because I don't have one.
Exactly. Well, that's what we'll create.
I'm
Whether
helping
it's
mine are at a place where they now, because it's been a year, that they do qualify.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm just waiting for them to finish their documents.
Well, starting to, like, and we'll kind of get into it afterward if we have time, but like starting today, actually I'll just jump into it really fast. Starting today, okay, comes back to the tree. If you don't have your plan, oh well, what's the next best time to start it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? If you didn't plant your tree 100 years ago, let's plant it right now. So, I'm just going to use the farming method because it is the easiest way to start going, okay? So, everybody has a database. Are they tapping it or not, right? That is your source of natural 4 to 5% every year will buy or sell a home, right? On top of that, that's your greatest source of referrals. And for every one that buys and sells a home, ideally you're also going to get a referral. So if your database is 100 people, ideally you're going to get 4 people to buy or sell, sell a home, and then ideally you're going to get 4 referrals. So if you tap that the way a database can, that should be good for 8 sales. Okay, so that would be the goal of a database of 100 people. Okay? If you pick a farm of 500 homes, make it a point to do an open house there every single week. Do at least one every single week. At the end of that year, you just stayed in front of them 52 times. 50 times. Take 2 weeks off. That's fine. Okay? But what also goes along with those open houses?
Contacts.
You're hopefully going to door knock, get to know a bunch of the neighbors. They're going to come in and see a bunch of those open houses, right? Most neighbors, probably what, a third of the people who come through open houses are neighbors. Okay? Those neighbors are the ones who are going to be looking to sell. Those neighbors are the ones that you're actually looking to impress. Those neighbors are the ones that you're going to be top of mind because, holy crap, I've seen this guy every freaking week. He's doing an open house in our neighborhood. Hey, what are our comps? Would you mind coming over and taking a look at our home? It stacks up, right? So, for example, like in my Listing Power Tools packet there, it are things specifically to give to the neighbors. Because you have your door hangers to put on the people who don't show up, and then it actually comes with some cool handouts that has restaurant information, school information, entertainment information. It talks about the proximity of how many are nearby within 5 miles, 3 miles. And it gives the neighbors some cool information. It's like, here you go, I thought you would like this, and it's something special you do for the people who live in the neighborhood. And so, open house, door knocking, doing your random mega open house where you're actually going to invite people for an inexpensive dinner, have a barbecue or something, Invite Frankie. Frankie said he'll do it for like $5 or $6 a meal, invite the neighbors out or whatever. And so there's a lot of things you can do that compound. And at the end of one whole year, well, minimum 6 months, you'll start getting the benefits. But at the end of 1 year, if you commit to a neighborhood, 50 open houses, door knocking, just listed, just sold, keeping neighbors updated, I guarantee you're going to get probably no less than 6 or 7 sales from there. But more than likely, if it's 500 homes, you should get about 12 sales. Okay, 12 sales isn't a lot on the surface, but that's just starting off. If you figure $4,000 per sale, hopefully take home, minimum, that's not bad, considering how much time it actually takes to do that.
Well, especially when the average home is $225,
Yeah.
and up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the 4,000 should be no less than at this moment. Realistically, we're getting paid great right now. You should make $250,000 home just on this surface is $7,500.
On the listing side.
Yeah, just $250,000 home, $7,500. So take that as you will. If you can sell 10 of those, yeah, that's worth it. And you could realistically do a good farm on that level part-time. It takes 4 hours to do an open house, 2 hours prep, 2 hours takedown. You're going to do an ad throughout the week, so that's another hour or 2.
Well, you have to get a listing in that
No.
farm first. How do you do an
No.
open house?
See,
I
don't
might
get
get
what-
myself
what?
in there first.
where did this horrible rumor start spreading? No, that is not true. Okay, you do need permission, yes.
Well, somebody's already in there, right?
Well, okay, there's a couple caveats. If it's an occupied home, you're going to have a tougher battle because you're going to have somebody that doesn't know you
Who's
giving
a
you
listing
permission.
agent.
Yes.
Okay.
But technically speaking, and here's where follow the chain down. Every listing is technically the possession of who or what?
Broker.
The broker, right? Not the agent, correct? So, if you call me and say, hey, Mr. Ezell, I would love to do an open house at so-and-so's listing over here on Saturday, would that be a problem? Would any broker say no?
Hopefully not, because I could bring in a buyer.
You want to help sell our listing? Please do. That's fantastic. Let me see if I can get permission from the owners and the agent, right? That's going to be every broker's answer. Pretty obvious, correct? Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
We want to get it sold. That's our job. Why wouldn't we? Okay. So, on the surface then, what is the only reason they would say no? An agent would have a problem with you doing an open house there.
Because you're
Still
treading on
occupied.
their...
Occupied, that's
stepping
one
on-
good reason. That's
stepping
like
on-
the only
but
good
you're
reason.
stepping on their toes, possibly.
Exactly. Because if you want to do an open house and they don't, that makes them look bad. Or they don't, they just are lazy, or they don't want you, you know, it's more of a jealous
They're trying to
competitive
own
thing.
that neighborhood too.
Potentially.
That's a
Or
vote.
you're just,
Yeah.
you're pointing out the fact out that they're not doing their job as good as they probably should. It's one of those things, right? So, most agents they either think they can't, so they don't even try, which is so not true. Next, they think that the agent's gonna say no, which some will, I'm not gonna lie, but not all of them. You know, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, maybe, you know? So if it were up to me, I would avoid occupied homes, because that's just a battle you may or may not. The benefit of doing a farm is that you could find the best value listing, the best location listing, the home that actually stands the best chance of selling. You know, you can cherry pick the best one there. You know, do you want the $30,000 overpriced one? No, that makes everybody kind of look bad, right? Can you pick the one on the corner that's the best value, that's going to get the best traffic? That's the one I would choose. You know, if you can find the 1-story, 3-car garage with a pool, with all the bells and whistles, I'd love to do an open house at that one.
So when we have an open house on another broker's listing, we put out our signs.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what I do, Fred, is I create my own flyer.
Uh-huh.
You know, because I take from Monsoon the information about that home, and I create my own flyer, so it has my own name, all of that, you know.
So a lot of times the people that are visiting that open house doesn't even know that it's not your listing.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, we're not hiding it. We're not
No.
like taking down their
Yeah.
sign. We're not removing
They
anything.
just don't analyze it.
If we sell the home, they're gonna get their side, right? If another buyer comes in that's represented by an agent, you're screwed at that moment, right? Because they're represented by another agent. This house is another listing.
Yeah.
You're the one left out. That is the only bad part where the person doing it would be at risk. If a represented buyer comes in, sucks.
I like the idea, go for broke and get that first one, and then it's yours.
Yep. Yeah. And it's amazing. It's seriously one of the coolest things. And so, like, you could own your area of Sun City. You know, find somebody. Everybody knows each other. Just take every new listing, every just sold. Be the person to say, hey, did you see this one? Here's some information about it. Here's some, you know, just hand out the comps. Just hand out the new listing. You know, to be Sandy every holiday. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here's a basket. Here's a gift. You know, it's wonderful. That's her biggest thing. Yeah.
Do you hear from her?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is she still on fire?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's still doing exactly what we taught her, and it's still paying her back. She does her farming. She does her other stuff. It's great.
She's a neat gal.
Yeah. You know, and that's the beauty of real estate. It's like, of all the people, you know, like, who'da thunk? You know, just a kindergarten teacher, just the nicest little lady in the world. You just kill it in real estate.
She makes people like her.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's keep going. What is your plan to get the listing? Okay, so is it scalable? Those are the two things I would really like when you are going to create your plan. That is your job security. Take it seriously. If you want to know that you're going to get paid and have a life, even if it's buyers or sellers, there's nothing wrong with buyers. You're just going to, good luck taking a 2-week or 3-week vacation and still get paid and help buyers. They have to show homes. You know, a listing, you can be in Hawaii and answer a showing time text.
Yep.
You know? Okay, so that is the most beneficial thing. So moving on, we got, what is your plan to get the listing? Now, what, in my opinion, it really boils down to these three things, okay? Number one, the comps. A seller that needs to sell their home for more than comps will call for, are you ever going to win?
No.
Move on. You're never going to win that one. Somebody that is just absolutely belligerent about what their home is worth, it will happen. You know, some battles of the will may or may not be worth it, okay? So, if a person thinks their home is worth $400,000 and the comps are saying it's $275,000, good luck, you know? So choose that one as you will, but that's a tough battle.
But the cool thing is if you do your homework and you bring those facts to them to say, I'm just sharing with you that, you know, and here's everything that says this is what your home could sell for.
Exactly.
You know, but if they're willing, if they want to start up here, it's like, I'll tell you what, you know, then let's try it for 2 weeks. If we don't get anything whatsoever, I want permission to put it down to
That's
this.
perfect. And if you have the confidence, what's the best thing you could do at that point?
Get it in writing.
Yep, go ahead and do it right then and there. You could pre-arrange price drops, and you could have them sign off on them right then and there, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month, whatever it is you guys decide on, and what prices you're going to do if X plan doesn't work. Absolutely, it's better to do it right then and there than when they're all emotional and ticked off that you're calling them 2 weeks later.
One of the things that I received from my Forest Lakes property and the agents up there in that area, about once a month they send me a sheet. It's an 8.5 by 11. It's a gloss sheet with all the solds, all the listings, and the prices.
Yep.
And that is mailed to me.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So that would work good in the farm area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you could compound two different things, definitely mail. Okay, that's check equity, I guess you could say, right? If you have the money, do it. It's hard to say you can't and you shouldn't because every little bit compounds when you're doing a farm. Okay, even if it's just okay, they're gonna see you about 12 times a year. Okay, and that will compound that weekend when they see your signs. That will compound your signs when they drive through the neighborhood. You know, everything adds up, okay? So, and a lot of people care. They don't care about the, hi, I'm Susan, I can sell a crap ton of homes. Nobody cares about that. But if it's simply the properties, their values, and something that actually is, the value that you get is what jumps from the screen or from the page. If it was Barbara's face taking up 2/3 of that, you would know like, whoop, you know what I mean? But the fact that you actually saw value in what you saw made you stop and actually look at it, right?
What I like about it is, like say Sun City West, and they're looking at a house that's sold down the street or the next street over. It brings to realization what the homes are worth too, so you don't have this
Absolutely.
guy trying to get
Absolutely.
50% more than what it's worth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the activity, and so whether it's like showing, you know, what just recently sold, or you know what's on the market
Buyers
right
markets,
now.
sellers markets.
It seems like it's kind of a win-win no matter what.
Yeah, you're one of those rare communities that people actually know and people care. You know, you guys know, I hate to say it, but yours is one of the few communities that I, as an agent, especially being younger, I have a huge disadvantage going in because I could almost guarantee you guys will
You're a
know,
young whippersnapper.
and you guys will know 10 times more about what's going on in that neighborhood than just about any agent that doesn't actually live in that neighborhood. It's one of the few, right? Same thing, Pebble Creek, that one will get you. Vistancia, Trilogy, most of your active adult communities, they're very in touch with the community. And you have a huge edge by having that living in that community, and just knowing. And if you're that source of information, you're done. You know, that's perfect. Vistancia, it was crazy. When I went on my listing appointment there, I was blindsided because Rocky and Dacia knew the neighbor, who they sold their home with and what it sold for. They knew 4 houses up what that one sold for
So
and how long it took them to get
already
into
up
contract.
on you, huh?
Oh, and I have to admit I had to change my plan because based on the information they provided me, I knew I could actually get more. So I actually raised my list price by over $10,000. That what I was going to suggest based on what they said, because
Just by listening to what they were saying.
Well,
And we
because
got
they
it.
did their homework, but I mean, it sounds like it was legitimate
Yeah.
homework, not just hearsay.
And
You know,
guess
Zillow.
what? And
Yeah.
guess what happened? So I think I might have told you this, but so their house is here. I have my sign here. There's a house across the street for sale, and up the way for sale. Okay, so you have 3 of our signs. Next thing you know, I get a message from my old pastor at Radiant, my mentor guy, John, and I didn't even know he lives in that neighborhood. He's like, "Hey, I saw your sign. How much did it sell for?" And he was wondering if I got a full price offer. And now that I got the appraisal and it came back, and he's excited. So I can't vouch that he's going to use me, but that's another in because he saw my sign. He called me and
Connection, yeah.
yeah. It's awesome, but he was one of those, and the whole reason is he's a nosy neighbor. He wanted to know what I got it under contract for and if it appraised.
So you went to Radiant for a while?
Oh yeah.
He was very involved. He was
Yeah,
one
that's
of
one
the
of the
users.
The
teachers
pastor
there.
there was ex-employee of Microsoft, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was for yep, yeah. That was the pastor when I first started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Great church.
if it wasn't for oh shoot, what's his name? If it wasn't for his call to action,
Josh
I-
Britt? No,
no,
not
I
Britt.
wouldn't have volunteered. And that literally, oh gosh, now I'm terrible. Yeah,
Midwater?
that pastor changed my life,
Yeah, I forget what his
despite
name
everything
was.
that happened.
But anyhow, he was teaching at other churches about what to expect on turn of the century. I
Yeah.
don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was what he did. Yep, he prepped everybody for the millennium. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually started at Kingswood Park at the elementary school. That's where Radiant first started, at the gym there.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable what they did out there.
Yep. Okay, so comps. Being able to utilize comps, match comps, being able to convey comps. Literally, if you walk into a listing appointment and you basically have access to the rest of the homes that sold via the MLS, so you could just pull up, did it have a pool, look at the pictures, that type of stuff, right? And then come in with a one-page CMA, you can get that listing. Okay, if you can communicate, you should be able to get that listing. Okay, because it has all the information you need. Okay, that's not to say don't use the other stuff, but fundamentally, how many days it sold for, the prices they sold for, the percentage of asking price, all that stuff, it's all there. How many sold, what's the percentage of active compared to sold? You know, if there's 2 active and 6 sold in the last 3 months, what does that mean?
Are you asking us?
You're going to look at the 6 sold.
And there's 2 active, that means that there's 1 month supply. That means it's a seller's market. That means perfect, right? Whereas
They
if
say they're not going to be on the
yeah,
market for
if there's
very long.
10 listings and only 5 sold in the last 3 months,
It's going to take a while.
that's not a good time, you know? So it conveys a lot of the information you need right there, right on the surface. Active, pending, sold. How many days, what the prices were. I mean, everything. And if you can put the dots together to help your client, oh, you want to match the market. Okay, that's perfectly understandable. See these ones here that got the highest dollar? Notice how long it took them, right? Oh, look at these. Oh, you need to sell in a hurry. Look at these, and it always works out. The least expensive sold fastest, the most expensive sold the longest, and it always kind of works out that way, and you can associate. Here was your average. Okay, your home is really nice, so it should go between average and high. Your home's a fixer-upper, between average and low. You know, there's ways to convey almost everything you could.
How much time do you spend on added value?
Depends on the house. You know, right now there's a lot,
What do you
and
mean by added value?
there's a lot of people right now that are trying to fix up homes that don't necessarily need it. Right? The market is amazing.
And some have gone in and done tremendous changes.
Yeah, if you can get it.
So if you're looking, like out there where we have certain floor plans and certain homes, when you do the comps, you really have to consider what has been done to that home since it was first built.
Yeah. Well, Sun City West, you have like the 1970s, which are definitely dated, popcorn ceilings. I think a lot of them have that little step down when you come in, you know, a lot of those, which are, they're definitely, you're seeing the difference now between those and like, what is it, like the 94 builds, for example. Completely different architecture, completely different look. And some of those are, I've seen some of those, especially like in Sun City West, going for like the high threes. You know, some of those are going for mad. What's the one golf course in there that's kind of unique and it's a private club? It's one of the more popular private ones there. I forget. Like that little section has some really nice homes that are selling for top dollar.
There's some $1 million homes out there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's not even talking about like Portobello. You know, Portobello's its own little ball game.
Right.
But like the 1970s, right now you're seeing a huge value where people are picking those up for like 140, 160, and flipping those for like 250, 260.
Not anymore. They're not.
Really?
No. House next door to me. These people were from Colorado, Wyoming, back east. I says, how come you didn't list with me? You know. They said, well, they had somebody, I snoozed and didn't know it. You know?
Yeah.
It sold full price for $229,000, and it's right next door to me.
Yeah.
One of the older homes.
See?
79 homes.
Yeah. I mean, like if you could get a good deal, and that's funny because back in the day, those things were selling for 150. Normal, just I mean, crazy.
I bought my home for 79.
Yeah.
But is this not rare, so if you do take into consideration maybe any upgrades and stuff?
They don't need them. Was that one completely done up and nice, or was it?
It had some work done to it, yeah.
Okay, but would you, okay, let's take, if it was a fixer-upper, average, high-end, where would it have fit in this?
Average. Yeah.
In the average. See, and that's where I'm getting at is, you can do some stuff to it, freshen it up a little bit. If your paint is completely crappy, it's worthwhile painting.
Yeah, paint
Right?
is cheap.
Just
Yeah.
for appearance sake, yeah.
But a lot of people are wanting to do up all kinds of stuff, fix these details, and it's like you're going to spend a bunch of money on these details that realistically the market, and I hate to, this is where you have to know the market. The market's not going to reward those efforts. You're going to get the reward anyway.
Well, then
As long as
does
you're the
it-
only one listed, if you list your home in the next 2 weeks before anybody else comes to the market,
Okay.
you're going to benefit. Time.
Because you're setting the precedence for that community or whatever, because that was my question, is there's advantage to actually not having any homes that are up for sale in that subdivision, because then that means, you know,
Huge benefit.
based on what we could do, this looks like, you know, this might be a good,
It's right.
If you don't, if you want to go out and get a listing right now, go out and find a neighborhood that has no active listings, that has had 7 or 8 closings in the last 2 months or so, and chances are several have sold for at or above asking, and literally just print off the comps and go door to door to door and just let them know about what's going on in the neighborhood. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but our market, our real estate market is on fire. Right now, our community has no active homes. In the last 2 months, there have been like 6 that sold, and for every home that sold, there were several people that submitted offers that did not get their offer accepted. Right now, this neighborhood has such high demand, it's crazy. Right now, did you see? Right now, it looks like you could probably sell your home for this. Is that something that might interest you? I mean, there's a bunch of ways to go about it, but that simple conversation, great news followed by great news, followed by great news, followed by great news.
well, can we, just based on what you're saying with the CMA, can we actually kind of walk in with too much information?
And that's the part, you don't want to just plow them.
That's what I like, the single sheet with the line item.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where, okay, so let's get it, basically, comps. That is, everything else is fluff. That's why when people ask me about RPR, I have a hard time, because is it bad? No. Is it too much? Do a lot of people just over fluff it, and do they end up not getting the sale? Absolutely. If you can use RPR to your advantage, it's the same thing. You could customize your comps and make them look all pretty. But fundamentally, can you use the information you're giving the people?
Well, absolutely. I was just thinking that the RPR was, you know, here in color is a package that I get to actually leave with you with.
There you go, and that's it. You leave with them to go over all the pretty stuff when you leave. Absolutely. You know, are you farming the neighborhood and just leaving them something? Heck yeah. If you're meeting them for one appointment and your job and my goal is to leave here in an hour or two with this listing, that's not my concern. My concern is communication and talking with you.
Don't fill up the time with a lot of paper.
Yeah, it's like, here, I printed this off nicely, it's got all the bells and whistles, details, please review it, okay? This is the basic gist of this information shortened, you know, whatever it might be. I'm old school. I walked in I don't want to overwhelm them, I want to have a great conversation, I want the focus to be here, here, and, you know, here, not just everything else, you know what I mean? So, that gets to number 2. Okay, so number 2, added with the comps, will get you the listing. And what do you think it is? What's the question there? Letter B, number 2.
What I'm going to do to get it sold. Oh, what am I bringing of value?
What do the sellers have to see in you?
Sellers have to see in you.
What do they need?
I want what's best for you. It's like I am here for you.
That's a good one, and okay, can you put that in like a word? Because that's actually a really good spin, and I would take that with it. But what my one word that I'm trying to hear has that trust comes with it.
More than just value, I mean.
Confidence.
Okay.
Are you confident you're going to get this sold? Are you confident in your plan? Are you confident in the information you're conveying to them? Are you confident that Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're telling me that you need to get this amount of money, that you need to be X over here by X amount of time? I can do that for you.
And you have to convey that confidence.
Yeah, and that's where having a plan. This is what we do to ensure that we get your job done. This is how we set this many records last year. This is how we sold this many homes. This is my plan, and my plan works. Based on what you're telling me, we're going to have this, and we're going to get the job done for you. You know, you're allowed to be nervous, but more than anything, be excited about it. When I went for my first listing appointment, I almost threw up because my very first listing was that $300,000 one right up the street.
Yeah. That makes you nervous, yeah.
Yeah, my very first listing, it was crazy. And I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew that I wanted this listing more than anything. And I fumbled through it. They came back with a bunch of different stuff. And I will admit, I don't know how I got it, but I managed to. And I guarantee it was my optimism and enthusiasm about being able to do it. I had confidence in my sales abilities. Should I have at that point in time? Probably not.
yes, because look at how many shoes and, you know.
Well, yeah, but a $300,000 house is a completely different story than a $500 suit. So.
Very true. Very true.
But I guarantee, as much as I was puking on the inside in fear, on the outside, I gave them an excited person that can complete their job.
You have to convey that.
Yes. You know, if they saw fear and doubt in me, done. Yeah. It's too big of a deal to trust somebody who's scared. If somebody has a deadline, they have a deadline. If they have a minimum budget, they have a minimum budget. And there's no wavering on that. You know, it's not like one of those that, oh, we can try this again. You know, and that's why that's going to stick with me forever, the person that we let down in Tempe. The guy that had to sell his house, his investment property, because we didn't do our job. And that's never going to happen again, in that way at least. We dropped the ball. And since we did not get a tenant in time, he did not have any money coming in. And because he didn't have enough money coming in for a long enough time, he had to sell his property.
Was it a rental?
Yeah. People trust us with one of the biggest things in the world it probably is the biggest thing in the world. And that's a big deal, which we could either run with that responsibility in an awesome way, with confidence and exceed expectations and have raving fans, or we can drop the ball and have huge liabilities, or drop the ball and hurt some people in the process. And that's a horrible place to be. That I don't even want to contemplate.
No,
You know what I mean?
No.
So
But
on the
that's why
flip
you
side,
take these things and you learn and
we help people become millionaires. We help people become financially independent. We help people accomplish their dream of home ownership. We help people accomplish their dream of having a place to raise their family, having a place to retire to, having a vacation home, having a great rental property. You know, I just got a promotion. I need to be in California. I need this home sold. We're helping them move on to the next phase of their life. How amazing is that?
Yep.
And so, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you say you need this in 60 days. Okay, based on this plan, the timeline, the price, everything, I think we could do it in less than 45, and I think we could get you the price you need, minimum. Sound good to you? Great, sign here. Confidence, enthusiasm, happy, boom, done, right? So, the one thing sellers have to see, that's what it boils down to. Confidence. How do you have confidence is what associates with. You care about them. You're hearing what you can accomplish their plan. You have a means. You're not just going to get, great, I got the listing. Now what? You know, it's like, okay, we got the listing. We're going to order the sign. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to order that. And you have your plan, right? So that's the next part.
You're knowledgeable about your market too.
Yep.
That's where you get confidence.
Yep. Knowing your numbers. Knowing the comps. Yep.
That's true.
And that's where, again, Sun City West, you guys in your market. You know, Black Canyon City, you guys in your market. You know, in Phoenix it's a little bit tougher unless you're in one of the actual communities. Okay, so number 3 is the bells and whistles. But I put those as more of a supplementary type role to complement your comps and your plan with confidence. Okay, if you use RPR, great, use it. If you use listing power tools, great, use it. You know, whatever it is, your extra stuff that you bring with you, your little suitcase, Mary Poppins bag of tricks.
So, when you come into it, because this is where I think I overwhelm people. And so if I come in and I start with that CMA, or, you know, the comp, but the CMA, and then move from there, and then if I need, I've got, oh, here's some additional stuff, and if I need, oh, here's some more stuff. Okay, all right.
It's better to go over prepared and just never touch your bag.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like in my effort to wow them, it's like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Cool. Well, and that's it. So, okay, so follow through with your plan is the next part. Okay. So, what is your plan? So let's go ahead and skip, since we're kind of running down on time, because I want to give you an idea of what you should do. Okay. So I'll kind of go down. We've got, notice number 2, you got lots of options, right? Video, pictures, lots of varieties there. I put social media there, but you also have, you know, just the internet and everything on the web, from websites, YouTube, all the other real estate websites, that's all out there, right? You have open houses, you have door knocking, all the different advertisements you can do throughout, okay? So, that being said, when you walk in, and this is one of the tidbits that I actually did this week, so I'm not sure if it'll probably come out in 2 or 3 weeks, but it basically boils down to having your plan, okay? Fred, Charlotte said she'd cut her commission, sir. What would you do?
Well, I feel like this is my livelihood. This is what I work at. In order to perform for long periods of time, I have to stick with what I'm presenting. I don't feel like I should cut my commissions.
For your livelihood. So, I have to pay more for your mortgage? See, that it's a good one, but livelihood doesn't. It's not a benefit to the seller.
Yeah.
So you said
And so they're gonna
this
have a hard
other
time.
agent is willing to cut
That's we bloated. You should lower your bills, sir.
Okay. So if they want to cut their commission, all right. So out of the plan that I presented to you, what do you want me to cut out?
Perfect. That's a great answer, right? And that's the point of having your plan. If you have a 25-point marketing plan and associate everything to the results that they're going to get, that's you just gave them a great answer that directly impacts them and their ability to get the job done.
Well,
So having your
yeah,
plan. So do you have yours by chance? Do you have your listing point?
Well, what I did is that when I took over for Terra Springs,
Yeah.
I knew what I needed to do in order to get it sold. And so what I shared with Michael and Patty is I said, if I do an open house every week in the month of January, I will have this home under contract and we'll probably have it sold for sure, if not by the 1st of March before.
Perfect.
And that was my whole purpose. And then I had, in addition, you know, the Facebook, the ads and that kind of stuff.
Perfect.
And I didn't get to do everything that I wanted, but I think because I had a purpose in mind, it came to be.
Yep.
But it went into
Without-
escrow without needing all of it.
No, I had done 3 weeks, 3 weekends of straight open houses.
Yeah.
And it ended up that my buyer was from my very first open house
There you go.
and stuff.
If only
But
we
I
could do
had
that.
to follow through, yeah. And so what was interesting is when you were there the second weekend, and Joyce was there, and that's when I got this call then from this guy in Colorado that says, I'm selling my home and I want to buy a home like this. And so,
I remember you talking
you know,
about it.
I love that every single week because I did some of what I was supposed to. That, you know, again, like you said, if you have that plan and you continue, you follow through with that plan, things are going to
Yeah.
happen.
And so like let's kind of look at it from 2 different ways really quick and kind of go down a list. So like number one of my favorite things now, and totally got this from Tom Ferry, and I don't know when or where I was, but it was just perfect. Okay, so you'll notice every single listing appointment I go on now, I actually anticipate. So I will bring the listing contract with me every time. I will fill it out, everything but the times and the prices.
Okay.
You'll have it filled out.
I will have it filled out everywhere but there, anticipating I'm going to get this listing, and all they have to do.
Physical paper with you.
Yep, it's the only time I have physical documents with me at that moment. The day you don't give it to them, you say, I'll send it to you, e-sign is the day they get it out. If you have it there with you, you'll actually, and even if you have it on the table, people will actually become more comfortable
And
with it.
have 2 copies so you can leave one with them.
You can, yeah. I say I'm not sure if that's necessarily right to get into the details, but I say, okay, you're going to sign it. As soon as I get back, I'm going to scan it in and send everybody a copy. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but okay. So first thing I do is before I even go in, I take a video now. So the moment I drive up to the house, and this is where don't be perfect. You don't need to be. Okay. So like, boom. Let's just do this. Do an example here really quick. Hey, this is Josh Ezell with Breakthrough Real Estate. I'm standing out here in front of 123 Bird Street. This home is gorgeous. I'm getting ready to meet with the owners right now. We're going to be listing this home. It should be on the market, I'm guessing, in about 2 weeks. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. It's in this community. If you want to get a head start in this hot market, give me a call. I'd love to give you a head start on and get a tour before it's even listed. Call me today. Talk to you later. And I literally send that out, I bring it in with me, right? So while I'm in there talking to them, I say, hey, check this out. By the way, see, I had a feeling we were going to go good, and I had a feeling this was good, so check this out. I went ahead and made this for you. And I said, if it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and send it out. If they say yes, you know it's done. You know, you got that listing. That impresses people because you're proactively selling their home before you even got started selling their home, right? And then that gives you something to send out Facebook, your database, YouTube. You can send that out to everybody. You can text it to your friends. As long as it's less than a minute, you can text message video on any phone, basically, right? Especially if it's less than 20 seconds, easy. So it's a marketing tool that's great. Gets people up going. So before you got it, boom, you already have first step, video, check, right? You got your listing, okay? So what's the first thing we're going to do? And this is your actual plan, right? So in order to start your plan, you have to say, okay, so we got the listing. First thing we do is order our sign. Okay, now did we even take ideas and methods behind our sign? Is our sign your normal sign?
No.
No. What is it? It's bigger. It's better, right? we use the posts that have the things. So if you want, you can put flyers inside, right? Are they pretty white ones?
No, they're colored.
No, I mean
Oh, the posts, yes, yes.
the pretty white posts,
So
right?
that they can stand
Okay.
up. Yes.
Do we put writers on top automatically?
Yes.
Absolutely. So it's not just one of those little dinky signs. No, we got your big sign. We put the writer, and then we put a writer, right? Whatever it is. Beautiful, pool, spacious, acreage, whatever. You know, we do that automatically. Okay. Now, as if that wasn't enough, now here's where my sales pitch comes in. I get one of these for you, customized to your property. So this would be your house, your interior, your picture, and notice it's both sides. So people just, they text this number with that code, and they get all the information on your property. Now, number one, they get impressed because you've got a cool writer that you're going to put on their sign. And if you actually what it boils down to is if you top of the sign to the bottom of that writer that goes below your name, that is the legal limit of what we're allowed to do.
Do you have that made up prior to going on your listing?
No, this is an example of one. Fortunately, I ordered these on every one of my listings, and one of them sold immediately. I didn't get to use this one because it sold too fast. Yeah. Good problem to have. So, yeah. So, anyway, so that was just an extra one I keep if you guys want it, but here's the catch. Several agents I went on listing appointments with, they stole my ideas and what I used to sell things to get the appointment and get it done, and then didn't fulfill anything that they did, that they promised the person. And then the house didn't sell. That doesn't make anybody look good.
No.
So you can make all the promises in the world, but you have to
You
then
have to
deliver on
follow
it.
through. Yeah.
Okay?
What's an approximate cost of putting that together?
This is, we'll get into that in a second, okay? Because that box is so worth it. That box is well under $100 for everything.
What I was talking about is if you went in with their home already on it.
Oh, yeah.
About
Well, it takes
45.
it takes about a week to get mailed to you to begin with, and oftentimes that's going to be too much. And if you have to pay to expedite it, then it's more
Pricey.
money. Yeah, it's one of those. If you want, use mine, and it's got plenty, and you can use it to get it done, and then order it after the fact. It's never not done the trick yet. So that compounded with everything else. Okay, so number one, you order the sign up. Okay, that is a selling point. Our signs aren't just basic. Make sure that's one of your things. We even took time and effort and detail on our sign more than most. Make sense? If it pushes the legal limit of visibility, do you think that sellers are impressed with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a
You're
dinky
not
20,
speaking, yeah.
18 by 20 or whatever those signs were. I mean, we got the 24 by whatever, plus a rider, plus that. Boom. Try to avoid our listings. Right? So it starts right then. Okay? Right then and there, I would take as many pictures and video. Come prepared. Bring the lockbox with you. Anticipate the win. And think about your job too. If you can do something in 3 hours and be done with it, is that better than having to go back a second time, drive time, socializing time, all that stuff? Because I mean, let's say you just drove out to Maricopa for this listing appointment. That's an extra 3 hours of drive time to go there and back each time. Okay, does it behoove you to try to get it done in one shot if possible? Absolutely. So take your lockbox, take your pictures, take your cameras, take everything you can. That way you're ready to go. Okay.
That's why I decided with rentals that it makes better use of my time to have basically an open house, so that I have a blocked
Yep.
time to get as many people as possible instead of going back and forth, back and
Oh,
forth, and
yeah.
back and forth.
Absolutely.
When you're
Right,
showing.
So the first thing you do.
Showing.
When I'm doing my rentals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they call and it's like, can I see it? You can,
So
I'm
you
gonna
group,
be here.
You group them, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna be here on such and such from this time to this time.
And do you separate them or you let them come at the same time?
I let them all come at the same time.
All right.
Yes.
Competition.
Yes, and then it's like, come in, come in, come in. You start looking, oh, welcome, welcome. Yes, let me tell you, let me show. And then I take care of all of it.
Perfect.
And
So-
it's just saving on my time.
So when it comes to the listing, time is of the essence. Okay.
Yes.
What is the magic window of if you're going to sell a listing for top dollar, happy? When is it going to be? Within the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Sorry, we have like 13 minutes left, and I know you're going to have to take off, so I
Yes,
really want to get
yes.
through as much of this as possible. Okay, so the first 2 weeks. So you want to make sure that you plan ahead. So if possible, what I tell people is that I want to meet you about a week before we go live if possible. Okay? I want to sign the documents, I want to take all the video, I want to take all the pictures, and I want to get it all ready. I want to start advertisements, that way the day we're live, you are up and running live. Full pictures, full video, ads here, here, here. Everything's getting sent out to all the websites with pictures on it right off the bat. All that good fun, okay? So, and it gets people excited too, because it really makes it seem like, you're gonna have a photographer? We have somebody who will do it for very affordable, you know? If you could have somebody, photography ranges anywhere from, if you want to go full gamut, $200 to $300 on average, okay? That's full pictures with all the exposures, that's twilight with the cool, you know, with the sunrise, sunset, and drone pictures too from above, from different angles, okay? $200 to $300 on average. If you want just great photography, Dacia can do it for about, you know, like $100 or so.
Well, is this not
Her
where
pictures are amazing.
to benefit us, say for example, you know, with Kevin's group or Escrow, that we've got somebody that can actually help us with the flyers, or am I jumping the gun a little
Are you
bit
talking
here?
You can
about
definitely do that.
sponsoring?
That
And
is, see,
sponsoring,
and
yeah.
that could be one of the things in your belt. Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So I'm just helping you get started with everything that you can put in
Okay.
your belt. Figure out what order you want to do, if you want to do it, how you want to do it, whatnot. Okay. So when I'm there on the listing appointment, I'm telling them that this is part of it. I try to meet them a week before we go live, and I let them know. It creates more of a plan, more professionalness. That I have a method. It's not just me winging it. Like, hey, if we do this today, I'm gonna have so and so out Tuesday or Wednesday. We're gonna put all of our ads together Wednesday and Thursday, so that way we can have our mega open house advertising Thursday, Friday, and we could be ready to go on Sunday or whatever. You know, you spell out your timeline, your plan, because that's the whole thing. Is when I go live, I want a week, and that next weekend I'm gonna have a mega open house.
By going live, what do you mean by that terminology?
Until that,
MLS.
live on the MLS, all the ads are live, everything. We might do a little pre-advertising for pre-MLS, you know, hey, get a head start.
So from the time of signing the listing, it could be a week before it's advertised?
Before we're live, yeah, exactly. Okay, that's one method that you can use. If people need to be listed, I can actually go out there, meet you today, and have it listed tonight. Good to go. Okay. But in a perfect world, people will be impressed with how much time and effort you're making sure that they're in good hands. Okay? So don't, if somebody's in a hurry, if somebody's in a hurry, their needs, you know, and it actually flabbergasts me how long it takes sometimes, because if you come prepared, lockbox and a phone, I can have you listed tonight, you know, with pictures and everything. And you can walk through a house with your phone and take a beautiful tour. I do it. I have a photographer come out, but I still take 50, 60 pictures minimum myself, because I do stuff, like throw my phone. And I also take video because I just have fun with it. And sometimes I've had a photographer out that I've taken better pictures. You know, photographers don't do video tours. So become familiar with some basic editing. Do you need to edit everything? No. You can walk through and just tell people about a home, right? You can just walk behind. Mom, I love your little whisper voice that you have on your things. Like, this home is beautiful. You know, it's so cute. Like, everybody has their thing, but that's what makes them unique. You know, everybody's done the sideways video. Everybody has, you know. That's part of the learning process.
It's not so much the content as them seeing you doing it.
Exactly, right? And is there ever a bad eyeball? There's never a bad eyeball. Just like they say there's no bad advertising, you know what I mean? Even bad news is still news.
At least some news. Yeah.
Exactly, you know?
Okay.
And so, when you're there that night, you're talking about your sign, okay? Because that's going to be put up within 48 hours or so, right? We're going to have that taken care of. You're going to have listing power tools that takes about a week to get delivered. So that's going to be set and delivered, right? You have your pictures and your stuff that you can start putting out there already, right? In the meantime. And so, what are you going to do every single time? I take a bunch of pictures, and I put an ad on Real Geeks, okay, up front, even before I do it, because I know the power there. I do a video tour, and I send that out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everything, okay? If it's a pre-listing, I tell them it's a pre-listing. Guess what? That's your first ad of a series of ads, because, hey, this listing's going to go live this week. Then the next one, hey, we're going to be having a mega open house. So when it goes live that day, we're advertising the open house the following week. Okay, so if the day it goes live, I have ads saying new listing that go out everywhere. I have open house ads going out everywhere, and
I've seen riders with on a sign saying "coming soon."
Yep, and that's what I mean.
Great.
If you're there the first week and you have your rider there, you can actually do that. So, for example, that's the benefit of the pre-meeting. Okay, so if I meet somebody there on, let's say, Friday night, and our plan is to go live that following weekend, okay? Because I'm going to have the photographer out there Monday or Tuesday or whatever, and then I'm going to try to put all the ads together and everything and get it live, okay? So, that Friday, if they sign the documents, you have the listing. It's not advertised anywhere, but you have the listing.
And then you walked up, but you walked up saying, all right, here's a home that is going to be, you know, going to come to the market or whatever, and if you know somebody or you're looking, all right, is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So
Okay.
even though we know it's not going to go live till like that following week, right? You can have a sign put up Monday, instantly. We have the signed document, it's a listing. So at that point, the sign goes up. You can choose whatever rider you want on top of it. Coming soon, pre-listing, and that's another advertising thing because
Pre-listing and coming soon is the same thing.
yeah, exactly. And then once it goes under contract, okay, a lot of agents don't seize this opportunity. I'm one of them because that's one of those details that always escapes me for some reason, and I don't know why. I put I'm gorgeous, pool, whatever, but I never update it to escrow. I never update it to sold.
Well, I tried to put my
You know,
under contract and my holes weren't matched. And
See, there you go, and sometimes that happens too. But I'm happy that you remember to do it because most agents
well, see,
won't.
nobody does it in Black
Pre-listing,
Canyon City.
new listing, sold, and that's your time for advertisements.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to make us different than everybody else, and so I was so irked that the holes didn't match.
See,
You know
and
what
I
makes it easier to hang those riders? Is key rings, those with the little...
But they still have, well...
But you can
okay,
take the furthest ones and bring them into the smaller one, or go out or in. It's a way to connect it to make it shorter
Well,
or
but
wider.
with
whatever
the
you
key
need.
ring though, you have to have it dangling, and this I wanted up
Oh, it's
on
up
top.
top. Gotcha.
I wanted it on top,
Yeah, that's the
so,
That's different.
yes.
Yeah, I went to put a rider on that didn't have any holes in the bottom to put it on the top. Yeah, it had two holes on the top so you could dangle it, but it didn't have anything on the bottom for it to actually
Yeah.
put it into place. And the little screw things, for some reason, I don't know why, but it wasn't holding it I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah, top ones are odd for some reason. Okay, so what I'm trying to get out in not so many words, because there's a lot to the details
Yeah.
about these things. But first week, okay, I have a video out, pre-listing, already done. That's part of my listing plan. I have a sign up letting people know that it's already coming up. And there's time and effort, so that's part 2 of my listing thing. Right there, I'm taking pictures for collage ads because collage ads get the most leads. I'm taking videos because videos, while they don't get a lot of clicks and leads, they get lots of eyeballs and people watch videos. Okay, I'm not necessarily concerned about them calling me because what did we just establish? If you have the listing, chances are the buyer's going to come from another agent and who's representing the buyer, right? As much as we like to say it, less than 5% of homes are listed from both sides. There's about a 95% chance a buyer's agent is going to bring the person, okay? So that's part of it. So I'm tackling both because I don't know where it's going to be. So you'll see that right off the bat, I'm going to do a video and a picture, and I send those out everywhere. I put the video on YouTube because it doesn't get a lot of eyeballs there, but once it's on YouTube, I can send it out in Constant Contact to my whole database nicely with an actual advertisement. So I take that YouTube video and actually put it in my email to send out to all my database, right? And with all of our leads, we now have like 7,000, 8,000 people in our database, historic, from just leads coming to our website. So every single listing we get, because we've captured every single inquiry, that's now our database. Okay, that's huge. So we have that. Next, you have Facebook. I purposely built up my network on Facebook to thousands of people, because that is now powerful. When it was 200 people, it was only as powerful as
my... your different groups.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was only as powerful as my 250 friends. They're not very powerful when it comes to, if a home's out of their wheelhouse, out of their area, then what am I going to do? 250 people is 250 people. On the flip side, now I have 5,000 friends on my personal page. We have 2,000 people on our business page. And we have umpteen thousands of people in all the groups. So every single one, you'll see every one of my listings has, you'll see, Real Geeks didn't capture our shares very good. Okay, see down here, notice add shares, but up here, shares, 16, okay, for example. 14 shares on this one, okay? So those are all the groups we send it to, okay? Right? And
okay. Oh, it says I didn't share it with.
well, sometimes it doesn't capture them, sometimes. So
Okay.
Real Geeks, there's some things inside here that don't make sense, which don't put too much into it, okay? But on the other side, look at this. Okay, 53rd, this ad reached almost 11,000 people, okay? I spent $100, but it reached 11,000 people beyond everything. 1,400 plus people clicked on it. This one, reached an extra 2,400 people, got 500 clicks. This one, we got 161 leads, as in literal people giving us the information for information on this property. Okay, 160.
Do you use that as a marketing tool to get the listing?
Yes, absolutely. Our website and our capabilities to get things sold are huge.
Because as soon as possible, when they clicked on, then I hopped on to say, okay, you ready to go see it?
Yep.
You know,
So,
and then they're in my database to follow up, so.
yeah. So this is huge, right? So this gets it done, and this gets us how many more leads with how many more buyers, okay? So when you get your listing, a lot of what you're doing is getting that exposure, because you don't know where the buyer is going to be. So you need to go online, you need to go on websites, you need to go to your databases, you need to go to the neighbors, you need to do the open houses, you need to tackle your friends and family, anybody and everybody that you can, because leads are leads. So first and foremost, you're going to find the buyer. But for every person who isn't the right buyer, there's nothing wrong with that, because you're finding the right buyer. But there's going to be a crap ton of people that don't like this home. You're going to help them find the right home too. And that's what's huge. So of this, one of these was the buyer. Okay, but we have 160 more people that we can help find the right home for them.
Yeah.
Okay, this one right here, Morning Glory, we had 19 off of this one ad. Okay, 19. This was interesting, because a lot of people were looking for something a little bit different, either north of I-10. They wanted something. This was just I have 2 people right now that I'm still working with that for Morning Glory, that from, I think it was my open house actually, not necessarily these leads, but they saw my open house advertisement, came to that, and then went from there. So okay.
And that's the whole purpose.
Yeah, and so even the open house ad wasn't a sign up, it was just an advertisement I did. So anyway, no bad advertisements. Okay, so you have your new listing. Take advantage of the new listing. People love that. If you're going to send out a new email, send out new email, new listing in Goodyear, new listing, whatever, new listing, best price in the neighborhood. There's lots of catch tags that get people's attention. Okay, and new listing people love. People are so scared to miss out. That's the biggest thing when they find the right home. They're scared that, what if it's not what if there's another home? You know, and so they will always want to see that new listing. So take advantage of that, okay? So the first 2 weeks, you have emails, neighbors, okay, knocking on the doors. So let's go ahead. So right here, for example, Listing Power Tools, and this is why I love them. They know what you can do, right? So right off the bat, you got new listing, okay? After a while, it's no longer a new listing.
Door hangers?
Yes.
Yep, these are door hangers. So this box is about 70 bucks. Okay, it comes with everything. Okay, so you get your just listed. Okay, this is for sale. So it doesn't always have to be just listed. They also have open houses. This is what I was referring to when it comes to the neighbors.
Because that gives them stuff on the inside.
And the benefit of this is if you have, like we were talking about, check equity versus sweat equity. You can knock on 500 doors. It's going to take you a lot more time, and it's going to take some time, effort, and you got to walk. But does it cost you any money?
No.
No. Okay. You could partner with escrow and people and save a lot of money. Just make sure the quality's there, but notice the difference. This is totally branded solely to me and Breakthrough.
And it's a mail out.
And feel the quality. This can be a mail out or a handout. This is what this is literally, I knock the neighbors and actually hand this out to them.
What is the neighborhood mailing thing that we were doing for the farming? Something next door, no, I can't remember.
Oh, Every Door Direct.
Every Door Direct.
Yeah, that's the cheap way to mail them. Exactly.
That's the
Okay.
cheap way to mail.
So,
yes.
but in this box also comes with thank you cards. So it's you're going to do an open house, and it actually comes with thank you things. Okay, so it has
because it's possible using Cole that I actually have an address that I can mail out if I wanted to do that. But if I use Every Door Direct.
Well, here's the thing. This is this box. You can actually take and Every Door Direct will get you the addresses for the mail route. Okay, and that's how you get your discount, because if the mail person doesn't have to think about the address or they don't have to do anything, it's just literally the route and then boom, 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 boom. It's just way easier. So that you're tackling may or may not be a whole neighborhood, and it's part of it, right? And you're not worried about names or anything like that. Okay,
And
that's what you can do with anybody at any time. Listing Power Tools has their own version where they will actually specifically mail the neighbors. And you can choose how many, 100, 500, 1,000, 1,500, if you want. And they would actually give the quality solely branded to you, everything. It's going to be more than Every Door Direct.
Yeah.
But the quality is better at that because you're paying for the specificity, whatever. Okay? So, normal little cards if you want, so you can either write in post there, okay? So not necessarily thank you cards, but if you actually wanted to mail stuff out yourself, or you can hand these out, okay? So you got
where
that.
does the thank you cards go to?
from your open house.
Oh.
Thank you for attending my
Yeah,
open
those
house.
are specific thank yous. Yeah, and they come with the envelopes to do it. So here's the other thing. While you're out talking to people, door knocking, I love these. They come with 2 different varieties of cards, property specific. So it's even you marketing too, because these are cards. So these are the A-frame, the little A cards. And Listing Power Tools should pay me for this little demo. They got these cool little things too to hand out. You've got, where's the, oh, they're still here, I haven't opened them. And then you actually got regular cards. And a bunch of them. There's like 25, 25, bunch of stuff. And then you've got the regular version of the post.
Because you have different packets in Listing Power Tools that you can choose from, depending upon what you want to do.
This is the standard power pack.
Yeah.
I upgraded with that, which is 25 bucks. Because normally you'll just get this. So if you upgrade, you'll get both. But this is just the nice, this is what I actually leave inside the house on the table for people to have. And all they do, they text the number. And then the beauty about this is that they don't fill anything out. They don't have to give me any false information or anything. The moment they text that information, it sends me the phone number of the person involved automatically. So I capture 100% of the people who inquire through there. Same thing.
Through that code?
Yep. And notice it's the same code throughout.
Like 2075?
Yep. Okay. So this is one of my big tools, okay? So right off the bat, I add this. So within 48 hours, I have videos out on just about everywhere. I have a collage ad going through Real Geek specifically because that's the best way for me to get literal leads coming in that we can start calling immediately, okay? Next, I send it out to Constant Contact, to our database, and our leads, okay? If you guys want ads sent out for any of your listings to our database, let us know. We'll figure out, you know, I don't have time to make it, but we'll figure out something. You have access to our list, let's just say that, okay, if we want to do it. And then beyond that, I'm planning for our mega open house. So you have your new listing stuff going out, okay, then I'm advertising for the open house coming up this weekend, so you have new listing ads, simultaneously, open house ads, okay, and that first week is just dominated with anything and everything I could possibly think of. Now, the beautiful part is these ads go out for as long as you want them to, okay? So if you put out a Real Geeks ad for Facebook specifically, let's say 2 weeks. That's typically what I do, because after 2 weeks, what am I going to do?
Price change.
Either price adjust or just do a different open house or something. So I run my first ad for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I'll change the verbiage, I'll tweak it and send it out again, right? So you can send it out immediately, new listing, okay? After that first week, if you want something fresh, open house. Send it out to all the same groups. Send it out to your database.
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks later, oh, price jump, boom, that's a third set of ads. So you're never at a loss of things that you're going to be sending out to people. The key is just remembering to do it every single time, which is where your 25-point, 30-point checklist is actually your memory for you. You just go down that list. Did I order my sign? Great. Did I order my writer? Great. Did I do my video? Great. Did I do my post? Great. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, you know, going down that full list. Okay, I sent out my ad to my database. Okay, I went to all the Facebook groups. Okay, I did it. I sent the ad out to all my listings, to my leads. Oh, final one, did I contact all the agents? You know, did I send out the blast to the agents? That's a great one.
That's the other beautiful thing about this is that if I go back in and then to my listing, and like on the right, on the left side, you know, where I can actually see the activity, I can see who has come to see that and make contact with them, especially with the price change.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then let's say you got the listing that weekend. What day are you going to go out and knock on all the neighbors' doors and invite them to come out to your open house? You know, come out Thursday. Give them some flyers, tell them to invite their friends and family, you know, and give them a day or two heads up. You know, Friday or whatever, Saturday morning, do another video. Hey, I'm here at this house, come see me. You know, send people. A lot of people don't send one flyer out for an open house, and it's like, wow, if you're having your birthday party, are you just going to send one blast out and pray all your friends show up, or are you going to keep reminding people, hey, come to my party, come to my party, come to my party, you know? And that's the key, be that person.
When this hits the neighborhood though, if there's anybody in there thinking of selling their home, this is going to be standing out from all other agents in Oakland.
Absolutely. And you have for sale, new listing, open house, just sold. So you can actually send that out 4 different times to people.
All in one time?
Well, no, you're going to have to order the 4 different ones. Like the first one, new listing, right? And then within a couple days, it's like, well, shoot, let's order an open house one. And then after it goes under contract, plan the just sold. Like that's the best one to mail out to the neighbors. Once if you've done your open houses, done everything, and you've impressed, make sure you send that sold one to everybody to let them know you were successful. Absolutely.
And the other thing that I think is cool, and I have to remember to do this, is if my clients have a Facebook page, that if I do the video or whatever, I'll send it to them and say, send it out.
Tag them in the photos, tag them in your post, everything. Great call. Yes.